Good to have you here in Rochester, Mike. How has this last few weeks been for you transitioning to your first taste at NLL lacrosse?
Yeah, it's kind of a fast-moving process. I signed my contract, I think, on Monday and flew out for my first game on Friday. So it was definitely a whirlwind of emotion there, just between excitement, nerves, and everything that comes with it. But having such a good team and teammates around me, I mean, I play with Connor Fields in the summer, which is super helpful in getting to meet everybody, get to know everybody. But the amount of just caring, the care factor, kindness, every positive adjective you can pretty much denote is what the guys showed me. So going into that, it made me a lot more comfortable and made me feel a lot better going into the game as opposed to kind of standoffish new teammates. So I felt right at home when I got here and hopefully continue that trend.
Yeah, well, it worked against Georgia. Had a great first performance here in the league. When you look at your performance looking back, how do you think you transitioned throughout? Maybe some nerves early on, but then really settling in there late.
Look, in any sport, in any league, the rules are just different everywhere, especially at a specialty position, right? The face-off, it's kind of just like getting the tendencies down of not only yourself, but the people around you and the referees, and any good face-off guy knows that, right? Whether it's the PLL, I couldn't imagine getting thrown into the PLL midway through the season. I don't think the success rate would be very high there, just because you don't know what exactly to do. So coming into the NLL, say 1/3 of the way through the season, trying to pick it up 5 days after signing a contract and never playing a box game in your life was definitely a cool experience, and I'm very grateful to have a face-off background and be able to figure it out. But yeah, the first quarter I was just figuring it out, and it worked out from there. So I'm very happy with what happened.
A week under your belt, but a very difficult guy who you'll be going across here tonight, and Jake Withers. What's your kind of mindset with that? Getting thrown into the fire last week, but now facing one of the best guys in the league at that position.
Yeah. So much respect for Jake Withers, watching him in college, watching him in Team Canada, watching him in the professional scene in the PLL and now the NLL. And it's really funny. I was asked this question as I was graduating college 2 years ago, 2023 from Lehigh. How does it feel playing Game 4 against Trevor Baptiste? You grow up watching these guys and looking up to them in a sense, and now you're playing against them, right? You think that they're way older than you, but the way it works out is it's just now that they're competition. So I'm very looking forward to this matchup and going against such a phenomenal guy, phenomenal player in Jake Withers. But stuff like that excites me just in the sense that I love competition, and it's not as fun if you don't go against great guys, right? That's what makes it fun, because if you knew you're going to win all of them, then why even play, right? The competition aspect is what drives me, and I'm very excited to go against a phenomenal player like Jake.
It'll be your former Lehigh teammates today, Nicole Kirst. What's that going to be like? I've gotten to know Cole. He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah, Cole was probably one of the teammates I've ever had, not only from the positivity standpoint, but from the team sense, as he was just one of the best locker room guys that you can have, right? He was just always positive, always picking everyone up. He would make a bad play, he would blame it on himself, even if it wasn't his fault, right? He's just a guy like that, and he's such a team player, such a phenomenal person, such a phenomenal family. I believe all the brothers are playing professional lacrosse, and you have CJ, who's probably the #1 college player in the country, and then you have a younger brother, Caden, who's such a phenomenal goalie, I believe committed to Rutgers. So their family has a great pedigree of sports, and I'm very excited to see him again.
So how much of an impact did Connor have in you coming here? Did you talk to him before, or was it just the front office of the Knighthawks reaching out?
Yeah. Have any previous conversations. I mean, Connor mentioned it, especially it's like a weird scenario I had. I was drafted by San Diego my senior year of college, went back to college for a 5th year, as many people did with COVID, so that negated that draft. And then I was picked up by Panther City going into last year's NLL season. Opted not to play just because I played 2 sports in college, wrestled and played lacrosse, and my body just wasn't fully recovered. So going from 2 sports for 4 years, right into a PLL season in the summer, and then going into an NLL season in the winter, I would have never had an off season in, 16, 17 years, because I've been doing that forever. So I wanted one off season in the last decade, we'll say. So that was really cool to have that, get my bearings under me, kind of take a step back. And then I kind of got the itch again, just seeing guys that I have gone against this year competing, and I wanted to play, and I don't really like seeing people get better when I have the opportunity to get better. So I just found that, and Connor was kind of introduced me kind of in the middle of the PLL season to coach, and they picked me up in the expansion draft, and then we had a conversation, last Monday about where I was at, and it just worked out. So that's pretty much the story there.
Yeah. Take a couple shots last week. Did you want your first NLL goal to be against Brett?
My roommate every summer for the last 2 years. So no. But again, it ties back to the rules aspect, like face-offs, whether you're getting used to it or whatever. Just getting used to the game. I know I've gotten a couple jokes in the locker about taking shots from the blue line, which was very silly of me. But it's fun. If they really meant something out of it, then it probably would have came up in a meeting. But we all just joke about it, and it's cool to experience stuff like that. Now I know what not to do. So hopefully one of these days we'll get like an inside finish. But until then, I probably won't be pulling up from the blue line.
With that face-off difference, I mean, you in college you dealt with mostly the stand-up face-off, so now you can basically do whatever you want. Right?
Yeah.
How is that? How is it then knowing you have a gladiator war even more so maybe than the PLL has after that face-off clamp? Like, what is it like?
It's so different. Tying into the rules aspect, there really is none, right? So if you get that ball, they can pretty much do whatever they want to you. They can jam on top of your wrist, they can get underneath you, they can push you off the ball. So it's really making myself, at least I like to think, a better player for field, but also getting used to it here and making myself a better player in box. Like just being able to handle the ball, being able to find such a tight window to exit, just little stuff like that, and having to be a better athlete, I think, is a big portion of it, because if you can't really make that 2-yard, 3-yard increment sprint, which seems like such a minuscule amount, that's what makes the difference. Like you have to be able to really get there, have a quick burst acceleration, which I think I'm getting better at. So it's cool. It's cool to grow as a player.
Last thing for you. You told yourself 2 years ago that you would be playing lacrosse in July and in January. What would you say?
I would have told myself no, because I remember distinctly my conversation with myself 2 years ago in January was I want a break, because again, wrestling started in June, lacrosse ended in May. So as you can imagine, I played both in college and again never had an off season, and then in high school played 3 sports, so never had an off season, and then youth you play everything, so never had an off season. So my first real time taking off was, like I said, 2 years ago. But no, it's great to be back. I'm glad I could kind of figure myself on a vision quest, if you will, but very excited.